What's up, everybody? So today we are talking about relationships. A lot of you send me DMs and ask me if we are trying to do it all and we know we can't have everything, but we can have it all. How do we have great relationships? When we're out here hustling, how do we build the love connection and maintain it and stimulate it when we are married, in a relationship, dating, but we're really busy all the time trying to make our dreams come true? Well, in this Basics of Bossing Up, where we follow and find simple principles to implement in our daily lives, today we're going to discuss that. We keep this in under 5 minutes or less. Relationships aren't easy. You all know that. OMG. I can tell you firsthand, it does take a lot of work. Whether a relationship is your love interest, whether a relationship is making sure you talk to your mom or your family periodically or enough. A relationship can be with your kids. It can be with your friends. It is anything where you feel or deem important enough that you want to carve out time. But the reality of the situation is that we don't always have time. So how do we balance it all? What is the basics to boss up in this situation when it comes to navigating relationships? Here's the deal. Most times we talk about this thing, and this is how I've conceptualized it. We talk about this thing of like personal life is different than professional life, work-life balance. Well, I'm here to call bluff. There's no such thing as work-life balance in the sense that we have been trained to talk about work-life balance. So what do I mean by this? I'm telling you right now that in terms of balance, you want to bring your whole self to work. Well, that includes your relationship. That includes what you're feeling like, what you look like, all of those things. The reality is it's the same for when you want to come home. So I'm not telling you to bring work home, but what I am telling you is to understand that bringing your whole self to work means bringing your whole self home. And that includes incorporating your partner, your loved one, whomever you're trying to have this relationship with, into the things that fill up your life. And most times it is your job. Now, before you go saying, my partner is tired of hearing me talk about work, I completely understand. I am not telling you to go home and only talk about yourself or only talk about work. What I am saying is you want them to have insight to the career you're trying to build. So when you're trying to navigate problems, they're probably the first person you talk to. Keep it short, keep it brief. Also preempt it by like, hey, I'd love for you to be involved in my work because you're part of my life. And it's a lot of the things that I think about. So I'd love to include you. Do you mind if we discuss X, Y, and Z? So that's one. This can be a conversation preempted with your mom, with your partner, with your friends. Involve them in your work life to a certain extent. The second thing that I will say, so the first is to make sure you understand whole self at work, whole self at home. They're incorporated in all. You talk about your family at work when you have kids, when you just get married, you talk about your work at home. Again, not excessively, but just enough that everyone feels included and involved. The second thing that I will say is it's also similar to a business. I know you might not like hearing this, but the truth is you have to schedule time for the people that you love. Just like you have your scheduled time for your meetings, for what time you work, what time you have to take your kids to soccer, you might have to pencil in a date or two. You might have to talk to your best friend and say, wow, every Thursday, let's try to do this. Or every third Thursday of the month, it's you and I time. Or every November, we have our friends, our girls' weekend. And these are the things that you can sustain, that you've agreed on, that you've level set expectations. Manage expectations when it comes to relationships. Let them know that this is a high season at work and I may not have a lot of time. Or, hey, I do have a lot of time now. Would you mind if we spent more time together? Does that work with your schedule? Or maybe a consistent date. Every third Sunday is your girls' brunch. Every, Sunday night is time with you and your partner. Every Tuesday is time with you and your oldest child for an hour. I don't know what the cadence that works for you, but keep in mind that that's important. Again, just because it's a relationship doesn't mean it's not transactional, because everyone wants to feel filled up. So those are my 2 tips in the basics. Getting back to the basics. Whole self at work, whole self at home. Incorporate your family into what you're going through at work. They have insight. They understand, your friends as well. And then schedule some time. Create a calendar, a routine that works for you and that person on the other side of the relationship, so that you manage their expectations, you have met their expectations, and it's consistent and they feel included. So again, there are more to come. Under 5 minutes, the basics of bossing up. We talked about relationships. How do you maintain relationships when you are busy? Go ahead, share tips, because it's all about a conversation. I'll see you guys later. Peace out, homies.